Oh, baby, it's Saturday and we are back. You know what that means. I'm sports mental health empowerment coach, Dr. Lauren Pitts. And this is, in my personal and professional opinion, the greatest co-host that there is in the world, Ronnie Ransome Jr. And this is House Talk Pregame, folks. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, Ronnie. But we can't even tell them why we're so excited right now. So we're going to tell them why we're excited later. Go ahead.
So look, y'all, there are many student and professional athletes who are struggling with mental illnesses or who are currently struggling with mental illnesses. Mental illnesses is a complex problem, and this is why it's important that we place emphasis on improving our physical, spiritual, environmental, and relational health in order to have a stable mental health.
Ronnie, that is absolutely right. And that's why it's so important for parents, family members, coaches, teammates, just for real, everybody to understand both mental risk and benefits to ensure athletes have the greatest opportunity for success and, oh, by the way, actually enjoy participating in sports.
That's what it's here about, all at House Talk Pregame. Look, we love to educate, empower, supporting, and positively influencing the holistic performance of today's student and professional athletes, their family members, and those invested in their athletic, professional, and personal journeys.
So look, folks, here's the deal. If you struggle to understand mental illness and have compassion for those affected by it, then you're in the right place, because each week on Pregame, we share powerful, we always put the disclaimer out there, albeit raw, get raw on HD, y'all, get raw, sports, life, and mental health information needed to make well-informed athletic and life-transforming decisions. Also, don't forget, you can catch us on HSRN every Saturday at this same time, 11 a.m. Ronnie, we compete with ourselves. It's like, how do we juggle that? It's like we're live, but we're also recorded. But you know what?
We're our greatest competition. That's how it should be.
All right. We compete against ourselves. So we're actually on HSRN right now at 11 a.m. and at 10 p.m., as well as on Sundays at 6 p.m. HSRN is empowering the HBCU families' head, heart, and hands to deliver impact. We all know that it can. So don't forget to catch our lineup of great shows. We got some awesome colleagues on HSRN, man. They doing the darn thing. We are doing the darn thing on HSRN.
There we go. And look, y'all, we have a great show lineup for y'all today. Super excited about this show. First and foremost, we also have a surprise special guest that we will announce on the show. Super excited to have this guest on the show with us today. You are not going to want to miss our conversation with him, because this is going to be a powerful conversation, a much needed conversation. And I hope that, you know, the gems that are dropped by this gentleman, and also the gems that we share in this conversation, will be impactful amongst everybody who listens. So look, the title of our show this week is "And Then You're Not." This athletic transition from being a student or professional athlete to just being a regular citizen. What are the odds of an athlete making it from high school to college to professional sports? Just for NFL overall, you have only a 7% chance of being a high school going on to play college football. We're going to talk about more of how little it is just from going from college sports to the NFL or other professional sports of making it there from high school. So with that being said, you know, what does this look like for those whose athletic career ends in high school? What does it look for those whose athletic career ends in college? And for those who are fortunate enough to make it to the NFL, NBA, whatever professional sport that they play in, you know, what does that look like for them once they transition from the professional sport? So we're going to be talking about all of that. We're going to be talking about, have you ever heard of a performance-based sports identity? What is that? What does that entail? And what can we do to address that? And also, life after sports. What does that look like? I've been retired for 7 years now. Our guest host, who's coming on today, he's been retired for several years as well. So what does that life look like after playing? What does it look like? What does it mean? Where do we go from here? So we have a great show lined up for you all today. Dr. Chris, are you ready to give this mental health tip of the week?
I sure am. You want me to go first? You don't never let me go first. You can go first. Go ahead.
You sure?
Nope, go ahead.
All right. So I just got a short and simple one. Since we're talking about identities and things like that today, I feel like I touched on this in one of our earlier shows this season, but I just want to kind of to re-highlight it and re-talk about it again, because I think it is really important for today's topic of understanding our identities and who we are as an individual. Because I was guilty of this at first. And, we're going to talk about this a lot during the show today, but I was guilty of having a performance-based sports identity, meaning that, for 14 years, I identified as a football player. That's who I was. If anybody's, well, who is Ronnie? Well, who is that person? What does he do? Oh, he's a football player. That's how I would have wanted to been addressed as. Oh, he's a football player. Oh, he's an athlete, whatever the case may be, because that's how I saw myself. Mm-hmm. And one thing we know is that when we place our identity on material objects and material things, when that object or thing is taken from us, we lose ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Our whole identity, our whole being, our whole motivation, our whole determination, dedication, discipline, all the things that make us get up and go on a daily basis, when we tie these things into a tangible thing or a tangible product or even a person, and that person is removed from us or that thing is taken from us or we lose out on that thing, we also lose ourselves. We also take away from ourselves as well. So I always tell people this, we wear many hats as people. For me, I wear the hat of a counselor. I wear the hat of a therapist. I wear the hat of a father. I wear the hat of a son. I'm a brother. I'm a cousin. I'm a husband. I'm all these numerous titles that I wear on a daily basis. However, I always stress to people that out of all those hats that I wear, the most important hat out of all those hats is the hat of me, of Ronnie, the individual.
Yeah.
And I'm 28. So to be honest with you, I would say for probably a good 25, 26 years, I put that hat on the back burner. I threw that hat in the back of the closet. And I said, well, if I wear all these other hats, that hat, if I'm not wearing that hat, if it's not being used, it'll be fine. It'll be taken care of. Nope. We place value on things that we like. And I didn't place value on me, the individual, because I didn't like me.
Wow.
So I place value on everything else. I placed my value on football because I liked football and I was good at it. I place my value on being a counselor because it's easier for people to go help somebody else with their problems as opposed to addressing their own. So I place value on all these other hats. I place value on being a husband over taking care of myself because, well, it's easier for me to just provide and tend to my wife as it is to provide and tend to me.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've learned now and I refuse to do is to put all my energy and effort solely into being the hat of a father and then not having anything left for me.
That's right. Because
how is that fair to my son, and God willing, we have future children, that if I just pour all my energy into this hat, well, that's not fair to my wife. It's not fair to my clients. That's not fair to me at the end of the day.
Right.
Because I'm not giving any energy to me, myself. If I don't give myself energy, if I don't give myself love, compassion, understanding, and patience, then I can't tend to those other hats. I won't have the energy to wear those other hats, even to think about putting them on. I will also throw those hats in the back of the closet and let them rot because those hats are just taking from me because I'm not giving my own hat anything in return.
Wow.
And so I say all that to say, people, when somebody asks you, who are you?
There you go, reading my mind again.
When somebody asks you, who are you? Think about it before you answer that question. Because so many of us so quickly and without even thinking about it, just sit there and say, oh, I'm a firefighter. Oh, I'm a police officer. Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, I'm a judge. Oh, I'm a football player. Oh, I'm a basketball player. Oh, I'm a lawyer. All these other titles and things that are just simply titles.
Right.
When somebody asks you who you are, I'm Ronnie. That's who I am. What I do, that's what I do. That's not who I am, though. Right. And it took me a long time to learn that difference. And it's not an easy difference to learn because that takes having patience with yourself. That takes having understanding of yourself. And that understanding leads to compassion. And that compassion leads to love. Because if I don't love myself and I'm not comfortable with myself and have compassion for myself, how could I possibly give compassion to my clients or my wife or my family or my son?
Wow.
So
Ronnie.
my tip this week is to wear the hat of you, the individual, first and foremost, and take care of that hat before you put on any other hats.
That's a mic drop. I mean, yeah, bravo. Everything that you said, and you pointed out a couple of things that I want to piggyback on. You talked about self-love, and I tell my clients all the time that you're no good to anybody if you don't properly love yourself. Relationships start in healthy relationships start with one's ability to love themselves properly. I even encourage my clients to date themselves. They're like, Dr. Bitts, you're crazy. No, I'm so serious. Date yourself. You don't think you're good company? You don't think that hanging out with you is a good idea? Then if you don't think that hanging out with you is a good idea, why would anybody else want to? And that's the way I say it. It's like you have to start loving yourself properly in order to be able to love others properly. And to the point of what you said is that if you don't take proper care of yourself, how can you be any good to anybody else? To thine own self be true. And people make the mistake of doing what we call cognitive distortions, right, Ronnie, where they think that properly loving themselves and making themselves a priority somehow makes them grandiose or narcissistic or self-absorbed or self-centered. And that's some BS. That's a false sense of humility. You have to be able to take care of yourself properly in order to be able to properly take care of others. You have to be able to love yourself properly in order to properly be able to love others. So when you tie that into this concept that we're talking about identity and how identity can turn into an identity crisis, you have to know who you are. You know, one of a few of the posts actually that I put up in preparation, you know, we were talking last week about resilience and self-care. Well, how can you be really clear about your self-care? How can you be really clear about how resilient you are? How can you be really effective at putting boundaries in place if you don't know yourself? You have to know what truly matters to you. You have to know what's truly important to you. And what I tell folks is that, you know, particularly when you get into being insecure and these insecure attachment styles that we talked about previously, you have to be able to put your finger on the pulse of who you really are. And oh, by the way, learn to like yourself, learn to love yourself, learn to be comfortable in your own skin. That is going to be a necessity in order for you to be able to not validate your existence by the presence of football, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, swimming, whatever it is you do. You are who you are as an individual. For those, and you know, Ronnie and I don't push our belief systems on you, but for those of you that do have a spiritual foundation, you were created as an individual. You didn't come out the womb playing football. You didn't come out the womb playing basketball or any other sport. You came out the womb authentically as who you are. Embrace your true authentic self and allow the sport that you play to be an extension of you and not the core of you, if that makes sense. Because as our guest is going to share with you, there's life after the sport. There's life after the sport, and it's what you do. It's not who you are. And being able to truly wrap your heart, mind, spirit, and soul around that is going to be instrumental in sustaining mental wellness. Because if you, to your point, Ronnie, if you get so wrapped up that there's a couple of terms that we use clinically. We can say you're enmeshed or you're fused, right? If you become enmeshed or you become fused with that sport, well, where's Ronnie? He's in there somewhere, but where, right? So there's more to you than this sport that you love so much. And you need to be able to get in touch with your authentic self and really determine what your authentic self looks like beyond the sport. And oh, by the way, while you're loving the sport and enjoying the sport and giving the sport your all, do not allow yourself to get disconnected from or lose sight of who you are authentically. When you do that, chances are you're going to end up in me and Ron's office, because you're going to have an identity crisis, and you're going to have all types of fractured things going on in your psyche because you don't have the sport anymore. But it doesn't have to be that way. There is a way to strike the healthy balance. And as we get more into discussion today, you'll find out what that looks like in a healthy, positive, and productive way. That's my tip.
So thank you for piggybacking off of that, Dr. Pitts. And like I always say, you always can sum up my words or re-say my words in a way that is way more profound than I do it. Way more profound. I'm still at like high school grammar level.
You are not. Stop saying that. You are not.
I was telling somebody. Last week. I don't need 9 different words to describe how good something tastes. It tastes good. How does it taste? Good. Good is not a feeling. Yes, it is. I feel good.
Wasn't that a song? Oh my gosh, man! I don't need playing with you.
I don't need to right click synonym on my computer every time I need a different word to describe something to make me sound more smart than I already am. I'm smart. I don't need 8,000 words to describe how smart I am.
Look, I got one for you. So here's the upper echelon way of saying that the food is good. It tantalized the discriminating palate of the diner.
See, and you know what? I'm like, you know what? You spent more time worried about how to say the food was good than worried about if the food was actually good. That's how I know the food was good. Because you got to use a word so descriptive and so challenging that I'm going to think the food got to be good.
Ronnie, you don't want your palate tantalized? Oh my goodness.
I'm like, you know what? The food probably ain't all that good. And they gotta go this hard to describe.
It took them way too long to say it. Oh my goodness, man.
Then you got the little hole in the wall joints that just got a menu on a piece of notebook paper. Food slapping. What?
The greasy food be the best, don't it?
I always tell people, if the Waffle House I walk into ain't dirty, I'm not eating there. You ever been to a clean Waffle House and the food good too?
Get me started. I don't go to Waffle House. That's Eric. Look, that's Eric, Andre, and my sister's spot. Call me bougie. Call me whatever you want to call me. I do not eat at Waffle House.
Hey, look, see, Waffle House supports felons. If there's a felon back there, I know food
not a Waffle House commercial, folks.
We are not sponsored by Waffle House, but Waffle House, if you want to sponsor us,
but if they do want to sponsor us, I will go. I will go to Waffle House and give me a milkshake and keep it going.
You know what's crazy though? Waffle House, I don't even know Waffle House realize they're doing. They probably realize they do it for money purposes, but they out here do a social experiment at every Waffle House. You know, you have to pay to listen to music in Waffle House.
I told you I don't go to Waffle House. I don't know what goes on in Waffle House. I don't go there.
Waffle House, the only place, got to be the only retail place in America where you have to pay to listen to music. Every Waffle House got a jukebox. Like, they still have them. They're not just playing music for you for free. They said you're gonna get this music one way or another.
Get this money however we can.
I'm gonna leave Waffle House alone for now, because now it's got me thinking about that All-Star special.
But to anybody from Waffle House listening, if you want to sponsor HD Pregame, I'll start eating at Waffle House.
Look, you ain't got to eat. Look, I already know my order. All-Star special with the hash browns and cheese, egg scrambled with cheese, bacon, chocolate chip waffle. Don't judge me.
Go right ahead.
Anyways, so I think Dr. Pitts, we have some HBCU Classic games this weekend, correct?
We have Hampton versus Howard.
Okay.
In DC at 12 noon Eastern time. So that game's about to come on in 40 minutes. That's the Truth and Service Classic. They call it the Battle of the Real HU. And then it's gonna be funky. And then we also have Virginia Union versus Virginia Lynchburg. That's in Richmond. That's in Richmond is it Hovey or Hovey?
Hovey Field, yep.
Hovey Field. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's the Willard Bailey Classic. So those are the classic games that you are not gonna want to miss today, folks.
Shout out to Virginia Union. Good luck to y'all today. I'm not gonna lie to you, Dr. Pitts, my fellow Trojans. I will say this. I know another Trojan team that started off the season 0-2 and went on to win the conference championship and make it to the second round of playoffs in the same season. So, hey, luck can strike twice in some places. So, they're off this week. But hopefully they get back on track next week when they go down to Fayetteville. Fayetteville, I think, is undefeated so far this season.
Okay.
It's been 2 years. They ain't played since 2019. Still working out. A little rusty. Yeah, it's all good. We're gonna bounce back though. So shout out to all the HBCUs playing today. I'm going with Hampton, just because
over the Bison. Oh, wait, yeah. Wait, no. Wait. Yeah, Hampton. Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
VA. I gotta rock with VA. I gotta rock with the real HU. And Hampton recruited me, Howard didn't. So I mean, hey, there's that.
I like Hampton's colors.
They are nice. And
their colors are beautiful.
Have you ever been to Hampton's campus?
I have.
It's right by the waterfront.
Yep, I love it. Their campus is beautiful. I had
really beautiful. They take care of the school.
The last time I was there, what year was it? This 2021. The last time I was at Hampton it's been a minute though. It was like in 2013. A young lady that I was mentoring. Hampton was her number one pick school. And then Howard. It was interesting. So I took her on down. We went to visit Hampton and made our way back on up to the Northeast and took her to Howard and the whole 9 yards. And then she ended up at Rutgers.
And speaking while we're on the topic of football before we transition, sorry to hear about D-Law. I know that was unfortunate for y'all. But I'm rooting for y'all. Well, I'm rooting for Dak this Sunday against the Chargers. That should be a very entertaining game. Did you watch the football team and the Giants Thursday night?
So I did, but I fell asleep. So I still don't know who won that game. So let me just disclaim. So before folk go to kicking my back and talking about Dr. Pitts say she loves football, let me tell y'all something. Dr. Pitts's day, as a rule, starts at 4 a.m. and I don't stop seeing clients until 11 p.m. And now school is back in session and I'm a registrar and I have, for our incoming cohort this fall, I have 260 some students that I'm responsible for. So Dr. Pitts's plate is a smidge full. I started out watching the game and it looked like it was going to be a really, 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 it was a good game. I want to say I fell asleep right before halftime and because who won?
The football team ended up winning 30-29.
Okay. Oh, so they were balling.
Yeah. Well, the Giants should have put them away. The Giants had a chance to put them away, but a couple mistakes ended up costing them the game. But nonetheless, it was a good game. It was,
Daniel Jones got legs. I'm like, okay, we gotta keep our eye on him.
He's an athlete.
He'll take off running.
He's an athlete. Yeah, he's a decent athlete.
When he scored that touchdown, because I did see that when he scored that touchdown, I was like, okay, was he gonna slide? I'm like, nope. Go. And I was like, okay. Note to self, keep an eye on Daniel Jones because he was going. I'm like, okay, that's how we doing it. Okay.
And look, no knock on Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones knows he ain't playing until he's 44 like Tom Brady, so he gonna get what he can get right now. Yeah. He got to fight for them yards. Ain't nothing wrong with that though. It's a great game. But all right, so also look, like we said, our topic for this week is "And Then You're Not," and this is a topic that I always love to flesh out and talk about because this is kind of like one of the foundational pieces to the reason that this podcast even exists, is about talking about this transition from being a student and professional athlete to being a citizen and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I will say this, so before we get too deep into the conversation, so I think, we can go ahead and talk about our special guest for today. So look, guys, we're super excited to have this gentleman on here. He's going to be coming on in a few minutes. if you are a fan of the Packers in the early 20 teens, then you've seen this man running up and down the field for them. His rookie season, I would imagine, I'm going to ask him, couldn't have gone any better for a rookie than what his did, because his rookie season, not only did he win a Super Bowl, he played in the Super Bowl.
And made a touchdown too, didn't he?
I believe so. I think he had it was like 11 carries for 65 yards and 55 yards. I'm pretty sure he knows the stats down to the T, even the hash mark he was on when the play started, when he played in the Super Bowl. So played in the NFL for, I want to say, 6-7 seasons for the Packers, all for the Packers. Played his college ball at Buffalo University, University of Buffalo. Is from Niagara Falls, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we have former Green Bay Packers running back James Starks with us today to join in on this conversation. There he is. Good morning, James. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you. Like I said, we appreciate you. This is a huge honor for us, for you to take time out of your Saturday morning and join us. How's everything going today, man?
It's going good. Busy week, but it's going good. All I can ask for. I'm blessed, you know.
I feel you. James, do you still watch the NFL regularly?
Not regularly, but I will tune in, you know, here and there. I catch a few games. I watch, you know, the Pack sometimes. I'm always watching like Buffalo, seeing what they doing. Like Khalil, you know, some of my guys that's, you know, shuffled around. Got some guys, Patterson and a few guys. I mean, I got some people in like Washington, the Redskins, the running back. You know what I mean? That's my guy. You know what I mean? Jared, young bull from you know what I mean? I seen his whole career. So I only watch games, I guess, long story short, just stuff that interests me, like people that I'm cheering for, you know, seeing how you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, really I definitely think. So would it be safe to say that last season, you know, your former team, the Packers, had a phenomenal season last year? So I would assume that definitely by playoff time, you know, maybe you were a little bit more invested in watching them and things like that, and rooting them on and things like that.
Yeah, I actually went to the Bills playoff game over there in Houston.
Okay.
And I wore the Buffalo hat. You know what I mean? Even though that was my first time. That was my first time. Like I went to like a Packers. You know what I mean? I went to a Packers game and stuff. I got invited to a Packers game out there, and I did a couple signings and stuff. And that was like the first game I went. But I think it was maybe first game of the season. And then then at the end of the gen, my first real game like ever really watching probably would have been, you know, I'm in normal seats, well, good seats, but you know what I mean? That was my first game ever going to watching as like, you know, a fan, kind of like preparing for type jank, you know what I mean?
That was a hell of a game you went to as well, Buffalo and Houston. That was a good game.
Tight too. I think it went into overtime and everything, you know what I mean?
I believe so. Yeah, I think Buffalo had to come back. Yeah, I believe Buffalo had to lead and Houston came back, I think tied it up, right?
Yeah, they was winning. They was winning. Buffalo was winning, doing good too. I was like, oh yeah, they going to, you know what I mean? It's big for like Buffalo to even make it to the playoffs and then get out the round. And then, you know, they got a young, talented team with Allen and everybody. Like, I mean, they got a good future. And then I always look at it like I'm a fan of theirs because of what it can do to pretty much for the city of Buffalo, you know, bringing something back to the city and giving kids hope and looking up to something to kind of like, you know what I mean, pretty much do something they want to do. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just good to have it come back to the city, you know.
Encouraging their dreams.
Yeah, encouraging their dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you often go back and watch University of Buffalo play often?
I don't, but I keep track, you know, like I know like he was my academic advisor. He doing different things now, you know, moved up, but Rashidi Green, he been like pretty much like a brother to me, you know what I mean? So I keep in contact with a lot of the guys, even some of the older heads and stuff that come from there, like just doing something, taking a part of it. I'm always talking and speaking with them and understanding what's going on.
Word. So James, like I said, we really appreciate you being on the show. So kind of like take us back to the beginning. Kind of talk to us about like going back when you were in high school, being in Niagara Falls. What was football like in Niagara Falls when you were in high school? Was football like really big up there? Because I think kind of sometimes people get like the state of New York confused with like being like a basketball state, or like everything is kind of centralized down in New York City and stuff like that as being the basketball haven. So how was like football in Niagara Falls when you were growing up?
It was exactly that. New York, like whether it's New York, upstate New York, you know what I mean? Basketball is a big thing. You know what I mean? Like we play with the best of them. We had an independent schedule. So we was playing, teams like Dwight Howard, Rashawn. We was going to Texas. We was beating people in, Palms. Well, I forget what it was like, the City of Palms tournament, where it's like the best people in the country. Like my team was probably ranked number 2 in the nation. We had like 7 D1 scholarships, like
Oh wow, okay.
on one team. Like we was ranked number 2 in the nation. We lost to one team, Vashawn, and they tried to give us our win. Was like, no, we don't want that win back, because I guess they had other kids on their team. They had other kids on their team that like passed the school, like they wasn't eligible, and then they played and stuff. So like they like, oh, well, they cheated and we want to give you a ring. We was like, no, we lost to them dudes. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah, just to answer your question, basketball is big down there. Football really wasn't what that was, until like certain people started coming around. Like a lot of the guys, I guess, you know how it is, and like you have the inner cities where, you know what I mean, you get caught up with wrong things. We had a lot of guys who, you know what I mean, they switched to that side and kind
of move out to like the suburbans and country areas to kind of like lay low and kind of operate from that area.
They got caught up by the street.
Yeah, it's just the streets. Like a lot of my friends, like it was guys that I would say have more talent than me. I was always like one of the top, but there's a few that I could name that, you know what I mean? Like they still good dudes, you know what I mean? It's just a way of life, you know what I'm saying? Like you can get caught by it, and if your mind ain't, you know what I mean, laser sharp sometimes, and even when your mind is like that, it's certain people that, could persuade you to do certain things that you trust or whatever. And, you end up regretting, like, dang, like I could have done this, but yeah, streets get them sometimes.
So for you, how old were you when you started to realize, like, you know what, I can actually do something with these sports. Like I'm actually like, I'm really good. Like how old were you when you realized that sports were not only fun for you, but like you were actually really good? Like how early on did you notice that?
I knew I was really good in football because I was always playing toss-up tackle, like older guy. I get hit, I'm taking hit. And it wasn't like they wasn't trying to kill me. Like when you young and you really good, and then you like, man, I want to play with you. Like I'm playing. They're like, no, you too young, I don't want to hurt you. So when you play and you're like, no, they trying to take your head off. So I mean,
especially if you embarrass one of them.
Yeah, and I was doing that, and then I'm fast. I'm different, So I was like, that's when I knew I was kind of good, because you got a lot of guys that like, coming from my area who people like, man, he got the juice, or he that guy, and so it was different, it was different. That's how I knew I was good in football. And then my older brother, you know what I mean, he signed me up for basketball. And I to be honest, basketball was like my favorite sport at the time,
Oh, wow.
But I was way better in football. Like everybody just always, you gonna make it in football, but basketball was something I like loved, and I had to work for basketball. Football was just came like second nature.
To you.
Yeah,
I feel you. Okay, so and you mentioned something that was really good, as far as like, having a lot of those kids, even though that you felt like you were really good, there was still like some kids in the area who were like, you know what, they a better athlete than me too. But like you said, oftentimes we have, what we call in my area, hometown legends, like people who were phenomenally talented. Like, I mean, I always tell people, like, the difference between me and some of my teammates from going to high school to college was simply that I just had a support system and they didn't. They had all the supreme athletic ability in the world, but because they didn't have supportive parents at home, and because they didn't have supportive family members or people who keep them on the right track or make sure that they were invested in their academics as much as they were in their athletic careers, they just kind of fell to the wayside by the time we got to high school. And then it's like, they point the fingers at the kid, like, well, you just don't want to try, you don't really care, anything like that. And it's like, no, that's not necessarily the situation. It's just, I don't have a support system. I don't have nobody really caring for me or really trying to, show me the way and things like that. So how was that, seeing that? Because I would imagine by the time you got to high school, like you said, basketball, was probably your first love, but you were really good at football. And by the time, schools, so before we get too deep into that, how was your recruiting process in high school?
My recruiting process was good. I was going to get a scholarship regardless for one or the other. I even had track, so
okay.
I was good at, I played everything, you know what I mean? I did track, basketball, and football. And then football was kind of easy. I used to keep all the letters of like interest and all of the scholarships that was offered and stuff like, and then my mama house flooded, so I don't have no more, but I was going to keep them just to show like, this is all of the schools that was like, they were coming there. Coaches were coming there from big schools, you know what I mean? Like Boston colleges and Michigan, and you know what I'm saying? You got some big schools, Syracuse, like I had pretty much a lot of D1, you know what I mean, offers, you know what I mean? So that was like never really heard of as far as football before I came from out there. So it was you know what I mean? It was I say a wide variety of schools I could have chose, but I chose to kind of stay home because everybody, like when you're a kid, like you think, let me go to the biggest school, but that school might not be for you, right?
Right.
Or you might say, this is how I'm gonna make it. Well, nah, if you gonna make it, anybody gonna see you if you have the talent to make it. It don't matter if you D2, you could be you could be a AA, whatever. Your talent speak for itself. And a lot of kids, like, I guess, get that mixed up. You know what I mean? So, man,
who helped you kind of differentiate that? Because that everything you just said is absolutely right. And
I want to chime in on that too after he answers, because I got a question too on that. Go ahead.
I was kind of a victim of that as well. Like, when I first got to high school, when I had went into high school previously, our high school was pretty good in the state of Virginia. Like, we were in the playoffs and things like that. So, and some of our kids had went on to play Division I and things like that. We had a receiver who went to UVA, ended up getting drafted by the Jets. We had another lineman, he went to Boston College. We had another lineman who had walked on at Alabama. So we had like pretty good players and things like that. But for me, like you said, when I was growing up, it was always like, going D1 or bust. Like, if you didn't go D1, then you were probably some trash. And so for me, like, my dream school was University of Maryland. Like, I would go to the camps every year, was showing out. And at that time at University of Maryland, it was Coach Ralph Friesian, who was there as the head coach. Had a great relationship with him and things like that. And going into my senior year, they basically told me, like, well, because you're 6'1", you can't play guard at Division I level. You're just too small. And so for me, like, I had other schools like D1 AA schools, like we had University of Richmond, William and Mary, JMU, some out-of-state schools like that, and Division II and Division III, they were just all over. But I paid them absolutely no mind because I was like, well, I want to make it to the NFL. I got to make it to the NFL. I got to go D1. And so when kind of University of Maryland pulled back, it took me a good while to really wrap my head around, like, what you're saying, like, well, if I'm good enough, I can go anywhere and prove that I'm good enough. Like, I can go to a smaller school and be fine with that. But like you said, a lot of kids don't have that mindset of like, well, if I'm this good, I'm just going to prove I'm this good. So who kind of helped you along the way kind of form that mindset? Or was that something that you just, like, observing everybody else around you growing up, was something that you just kind of picked up?
I had, you gotta think like, man, I come from that same kind of like, you know, what you explained, you know, like that same kind of era. Everybody kind of like, you a bust if you don't go D1, you this, you that. And like me, I always been kind of like doubted, you know what I mean? Everybody, this person is, this person that. Well, he better than Buck and this, and you know, like, but when you let that play a part in your life, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you come strong because at the same time, I never use it as like I'm competing with a person. Like I'm always competing with myself. So like when I'm competing with myself, like not only am I making my mindset and stuff sharp, but like I'm not looking at or ever gonna be jealous of what another man has. You get what I'm saying? I'm good enough with like myself. So like even going to the league when everybody doubted me, it just fueled me kind of. Like I used it as fuel. Like, oh, I can't do this. Well, I'm not gonna do it by talking to you. I'm not gonna do none of that. I'm gonna just show you. You know what I mean? So when I was coming out, it was more so I went to University of Buffalo to give people hope, like because everybody said that you would not make it if you go here. But I'm talking to my cousin Pat, which I still talk to this day. I could, you know, I could speak to him. It wasn't against no NCAA stuff. He family. So I would, I would ask him questions like, if I went here, if I went there, you know, it don't matter where you go. We see talent. We gonna see it no matter if you go here. What you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you out there competing. When you playing certain games, it's kind of like you could play a team that's, you know, 11-0. Like they still could be beaten. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's
The
right.
only
Any given
difference in
Saturday or
like a
Sunday.
true D1, you know what I mean? Like you look at the Alabamas, the lineman is good. Every person, every aspect of a team, they might have 2 starters, 3 starters in each position that pretty much is going to the league.
Yeah.
So one thing I looked at it as too is like, well, shoot, if I could play against a team like that, and we really only got, you know what I'm saying, maybe
one or two that
that's or say we have 3 or 4, and then our line is never gonna be like theirs, but you got people that's getting it. So my holes was this small, where Alabama could run through holes this small. But then when we play them, I'm still doing the same thing. I know I'm preparing myself, you know. I just looked at it. I just looked at the whole process like different. Like I was changing people like way of thinking. Now people like going to University of Buffalo. Now people low key, if it's not said at, you know, ESPN level or whatever, you look at a Jared Patterson, Kevin Marks that's coming out next year. You look at Bo, you know, you look at, you know what I'm saying, Brandon Oliver, like these people are all drafted low and then go and stay in the league like 6 to 7 years, or they helping their teams immediately. Like they already built for everything that's thrown at them. And so people talk about running back use, but I mean, yeah, we weren't the top backs or whatever, but I could have been. He could have been, but it's all to me politics and a lot of stuff too. Is like, shoot, I just paid this dude from Alabama, or I paid this dude from LSU this much money to do whatever, and he could really be trash. You got people going the first round that pan out to be nothing. All of these backs that was ahead of me, you know what I mean? It's like, don't let, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what to answer your question, my mindset always been kind of like different. Nobody really persuaded me to do whatever. They just clarified it. Like, all right, I'm gonna be myself and go where I want to go, and I'm gonna try to make a difference regardless. I'm gonna stay home. It's gonna either be upstate or nothing, you know. So it's gonna be Buffalo. I'm gonna go D1 or Syracuse, and then the Syracuse coaches and all of that left, you know. And then I still have my scholarship on the table, but I was like, shoot, I'm gonna go here and stay at Buffalo because it's closer anyways, and my family right there. So
what you beautifully, before you go, Dr. Pitts, like everything you just described, man, is like what I try to tell people now is like, don't spend so much time trying to prove people wrong. Put that energy in proving yourself right.
That's right.
Like you said, like you had the self-confidence and the self-awareness of yourself at an early age to know, like, I'm better than most of these people. I don't care what color, what team colors I got on, what uniform I got on, what division I'm at. If I'm better than you, damn it, I'm better than you. And it's just gonna show. And so for you to sit there and say, like, you know, it was always about proving yourself right as opposed to proving others wrong. I always had a coach that used to say, if you throw a stone at every dog that barks at you when you walk down the street, you'll never make it to the end because you're so worried about shutting them up that you can't even prove yourself right and get down the street. And so I appreciate you saying that, man, because like you said, like sometimes it's up to you to have that confidence within yourself to know, like, look, I'm better than you. I can do this. I'm gonna show myself that I can do this and make it to this level.
Yeah, it one of the things that I noticed about you when we first met you, that first meeting that Ronnie and I had with you, is just how humble you are. And you just hit it. You hit the nail on the head. And it really reminds me, you just affirmed so much. It reminds me of a few conversations that my former husband, who's now deceased, had with his son when he was preparing to go to college. And outstanding scholar athlete, brilliant young man, extremely, extremely, extremely gifted and talented. It had his sights set on D1 and going, pro in the whole 9 yards. And his dad played for Del State, still has records that haven't been broken at Del State, went right down the street, in essence, right down Route 1 from New Jersey on down to Dover to Del State. And he said exactly what you said, James. He said, you don't have to go to D1. He was like, that's your dream, that's fine. But the way that it was being conveyed to us was that D1 is the only way to the league. And what his dad was saying is that's not the case. Your talent will be recognized wherever you are. When I reflect upon when his dad played for Del State, there were 5 players that his dad played with at Del State that went pro. Rod Milstead, who went to then the Redskins at the time, was one of those players. He's the one that stays in the forefront of my mind. But 5 players from an HBCU in that era that his dad was there went, and he went to a Division I school, and he was redshirted, but in the grand scheme of things, he got hardly no playing time at all because of your point that there was all of this other talent that was just as good, but from the coaching staff's perspective, clearly better than him because he played, with Adrian Peterson but it's like, what, it's the butterfly effect. We don't know what it would have looked like had he gone D2 or D3, but at the end of the day, it's like, that is just such a powerful message for the kids that listen to our show to understand that your talent speaks for itself. If you're a shining star, your star is going to shine. You are going to shine brightly wherever you are. And just thank you for saying that. These kids need to know, as my grandpa used to say, there was more than one darn way to skin a cat. You can get there, but you don't have to go necessarily the traditional route, but they get that locked in their head and they can't change. And to that point, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned your mom's house a few minutes ago. How did your mom support you as a scholar athlete and as you were making these transitions throughout your athletic journey?
Shoot, my mama, like I always say, I call her mommy. You know what I mean? People be like, call your mama mommy. My mommy. Like, I call her mommy most of the time, but when I speak on, I just say my mama. Like, because shoot, that's my mama. I love my mama. Everybody know that.
Yeah, baby.
I do whatever I can for her, but at the same time, I think she made the most of what she had. She really went all 6, 7 of us, and pretty much, fathers wasn't the best fathers, you know what I mean? I know my father loved me, you know what I mean? But everybody would know the truth. Now, he a loving dad. He loves us to death, you feel me? But parents, man, it's tough. She just tried to do I guess what she could with what she had. You know what I mean? So how she supported me was just, baby, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? If I wanted to go somewhere, I could go. Like I was more so like, I don't get me wrong, like I go out. I was having fun young, and I would be with my friends, and we probably was at the wrong places sometimes, but she knew that I always like pretty much thought how I thought, and I wasn't really like a person that's letting too many people influence me to do something bad. Like I always was like a straight and narrow kind of kid. Everybody thought I was like good, but sometimes, you know, little kids, you be like, every put on this persona, everybody, you know, do you give them the eyes or something? Like, man, he's so innocent, like, you know. But I was a
please.
bad kid.
What? Man, I had that down to a T.
No need.
I was bad, but at the same time, like I was super respectful, and that's what my mama kind of like raises on. Like, you know, we gonna eat, we gonna have our little meals. Like, she never made it feel like we ever really needed something. We had everything we wanted. You know, we had everything we truly needed. You know what I'm saying? And you know, even though I could see it's hard, I could see the struggle. You know, that's what kind of like pushed me. It was kind of like seeing her struggles, seeing my brother's struggles, seeing like all of the disappointment through my nana, rest in peace. Seeing like, you know, my uncles who could have been, and then seeing all the like the peoples that could have been from Niagara Falls. It was like, that was like my motivation. Like, stop always saying what we could do. Let's do it then. Like, but if you look at it,
Stop talking about it. Be it.
yeah,
Just do it.
we all in the same boat. Now you look at all of the kids coming out of Niagara, like it's gonna take more than me. And I try to preach that, you know, to everybody that's coming out of like the 716, or, you know what I'm saying, the 585, or, you know, Syracuse, whatever. Like, I try to preach that to them, because like, you don't have a lot of people who make something of themselves coming from those little inner cities. So like a lot of that motivation, like, just to answer the question, is it's not really coming from like my mom. She did the best way she could. So like, it was her struggles, I guess, that pushed me to do better. Struggles of so many people. Right.
How and I know Ronnie's will touch on this more. James, what was your attitude, and even what was your mom's I can't think of another word other than requirement. Like, what were grades to you? Because Ronnie and I, we go hard about these kids and these grades. Look, James, don't traumatize. What's your take on these grades and these kids that think that their talent alone is going to be enough to get them to the league? Because it's like, okay, you got to go to these classes. You have to be eligible to play in high school and in college. What do you have to say about the whole grade piece?
School is not for everybody. Like, school wasn't even for me, you know.
Me neither. I tell people tough. The only reason I went to college was for football. That was it. Like, there were by the time I got to high school was like on the back burner, but I knew I had to do it in order. I was not the most talented kid in the world. I wasn't a walking Lawrence Taylor or a walking Ray Lewis out here in the streets of Central Virginia. So I knew like my talent alone was not going to be good enough to get me to a school. Like, so for me, like, as much as I'm not going to say hate it, I had a strong disdain for school. I knew I had to do it. And we know like there's maybe a handful of kids each year who like their talent level is tolerable enough for school to be like, you know what? He shouldn't be here, but we're gonna bring him anyways because we know he can get us where we need to go.
Yeah, but I look at it like I mean, when I was in school, I kind of like, you know, all of my teachers like me. So like, if
God, James.
If you
have to go there.
Listen, all my teachers like me, but I did do my work, you know, like I did do my work. Like I knew, because I never really thought about it. And it was Sal Constantino. He was like a PAL coach. What I told you, I went on traveling leagues and all of that stuff. So he would like start talking about it. But one thing too is like a lot of kids don't understand the importance of school, right? And so like we look at it as, like you said, a person gonna go to the league. automatically from the hood if they or anywhere in your city, if they is the talk, they made it already before they even made it. They didn't go to school, they didn't do nothing.
Right.
They already saying he's better than whoever did make it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it don't matter what it's for. It could be a rapper, it could be it could be anything, you know, it could be hockey, it could be whatever. If they in high school, they already better than him. They got more talent than him. But when they get to where he's at, or the path that man take, how could you say he better than him if he ain't even halfway there? He don't even know where he's going. So a lot of kids, to be honest, is lost. Like we feel like we already him and decide to, you know, stop doing school. And then
they hyping them up on the sports and
they hyping them up on the sports tip, and it's like, how you even get there if you ain't got the grades?
And
if you don't make the clearinghouse, how you get there? So when I talk to my nephew, because he cold, he different. My brother was different. You know, he taking a different path, and like I said, everybody path different, and I would never knock my brother, and I'm not bringing him up because I'm disappointed in him and stuff, but easy first rounder. I could see the talent right now. Easy first rounder. 6'5", 235. But his he don't like playing football. He wanna do something different. But I say that just because a lot of people get it so confused. I gotta be this football player, and then they trying to make it here for this, and they pumping him up, don't got the grades. His grades bad. So now you got all of this talent, and people gonna take you for talent, but I can't get through the clearinghouse. So like my brother and my nephew, I always told him, bruh, your grades, them 80s and stuff, gonna make it harder. You're gonna have to get that SAT score that you know you're not a good test taker. You better go ahead and get them 90s. So I don't let nobody get no C's. I don't let nobody get no C's. You get a C, I took them out of track. You get a C, I take you out of football. I won't not one C in my house. So my nephew,
my mom is giving you a standing ovation right now, James.
I'm just saying, like, because and they hate me now, right? But look at it. I'm training him for where he told me he want to go. You saying you want to go here? Well, I'm gonna show you the way. If you get a C, you're not about to play football. You're not running track. You know, he went to states. He was supposed to took him out of it. And I told his coach why. Because you know why? In football, in life, you get a mistake, you might get away with it once, you know? But in the league, you keep making these mistakes, you taking out of that stuff, and you're not playing ever again. That's one time you get to mess up. So at the end of the day, you get one time to get this C. I'm taking, people could say, oh, you don't know, because I'm also getting ready for the clearinghouse. He got to go to college because you're not staying.
And most colleges, and you know, it's crazy. I always joke with people, like, you know, when like if I ever had a hard class in school, like, well, you know, C's get degrees. And like I played at Virginia State. Virginia State, the bare minimum GPA you can have as a student athlete is a 2.3. So even if you had all C's, you passing your classes, but you can't walk on that field and play. And people don't understand that. And I always tell people, like, and you made a great point, because and me and Dr. Pitts, we say this all the time. School is not for everybody. College is not for everybody. And me particularly, like I said, I went to college because I played football and I love football and I had dreams of making it to the pros. However, I didn't make it to the pros, obviously, but because I had made an investment in my academics in high school and things like that, I got a full ride. So even though making to the league didn't work out for me, I had my undergrad paid for. I don't owe a penny for undergrad loans. Now, master's degree is a different story. That, you know, hey, you know, that's a whole different story. But for undergrad, football gave me the opportunity, being a student athlete and focusing on the student first, gave me the opportunity to go play football for free out of college and got a hell of a degree for it. So to the point you made, you're making a great point, because like, you will not, how many coaches did you hear from high school, college, and even at the NFL level? Everybody always laughs and says the NFL stands for not for long, because that is true. The average NFL career lasts 2.3 seasons.
Probably less than that for depending on the position. You know, like,
absolutely.
You look at running backs, I think the expectancy is like a year or less or something like that, bro.
They only say by your 25th birthday, you washed up.
Yeah,
Just
you
because of the
don't. Like,
position.
you old. You old
Yeah.
at 27, 30. You 29, 28.
You know, it's crazy.
You
I
old.
remember early 2000s when Sean Alexander won MVP. I think Sean Alexander was like 28, 29. And when he turned 30, they're talking about, oh, well, he's time to go. He's about to fall off a cliff. And I'm just like,
Yeah, but
30?
yeah, but that's it's always gonna be like that in the league. Like one thing about like the league is just it's different, bro. Like you got all of the best athletes from everywhere. So like you got
Everywhere.
the top, not 5 players on the team, you got the top 2 or 3. So like you got the best players and they all going to the roster. And some of them boys be trash when you get there though. Like, you know, like people be thinking like, oh, the league. No, you really do got some dogs, and it really do be people that starting or playing a lot, whatever. They really be dogs, and then you can even see their careers as how it's gonna grow and stuff. Like I can vision stuff so much different, even playing in the league now. Like I could see true talent. I could see somebody who just there for a time. I could see that stuff, and so like. I don't know, man. It's different. Like it don't last long. You're right. It's a fairy tale world. I tell that to a lot of people. Like it don't last long, man. Yeah. Enjoy it while it do, because after everything's said and done, bro, ain't nobody gonna love you.
There's life after football.
Yeah, put yourself in a position where you good after football. Like enjoy every bit of it, but make sure you enjoying it with some kind of like on the side where you're gonna be like, I'm good or playing.
And so I'm glad you mentioned that, James. So going back a little bit, so you said that you always had like kind of a different mindset from your peers and things like that coming through high school and things like that, always knowing that, you know, yes, I'm good at this sport. I'm good at football, basketball, and track. And hell, if you put any other ball in my hand, I'm probably good at that too, you know. But like you said, like at what age did you start realizing that football wouldn't last forever, A, and B, like I need to start thinking about life after football? Like how early in the game was that for you? Was it before college? Was it before you made it to the pros? Like how old were you when you realized like, yeah, football's not gonna be forever. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And like, well, what the hell am I gonna do after I no longer have to report to camp every July at the end of July and things like that?
I would say like when I was going into the league, right? It was things that was happening. Like I was rich when I wasn't, you know, like I had people like, you know, he made it, you know, like I was there, even though I was getting, you know, lower, but I'm getting tech. Like it's a lot, bro. It's just a lot. But
I was
like,
definitely.
I was people, you know, he make it, right? And then I'm like not loyal if I do certain things for certain people. If I do it, I'm the most loyal. He real. I didn't understand. I was still a kid. You gotta understand. It's not like it's not like my dad, he don't ask me for nothing. Like, you get what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. But it would be like if I had my dad in my life to show me certain things that my mama can't show me, or, you know, to tell me, he tell me those things and we talk about it now and stuff, but it would have been good to have something like that
back then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I have uncles, I got people who did it, like, you know, I got, you know, people that's like Papa Shees, rest in peace, like was good mentors to kind of tell me those things. So, but even when he told me, it's like, it's family, so you got to do this. So what I started doing was putting money here, doing this, I'm giving it to people. I'm like, damn, like I only got like 20,000. I just had this. Well, you buy a car, is this, and then they messing it up. It gotta be, they can't take care of it. So then it's like, well, the lockout happened, bro. I'm out here working. I'm out here working and stuff, and my money leaving. I'm getting counselor jobs and stuff, and I'm still trying to get money. So when the league started back up, I'm like, I need to do something. And I started hiring financial guys to show me how to use money, because I never really had money. So they can teach me and I can learn from it, you know? So I get a financial guy and they start putting me in different wavelengths. And so I was like, I would say I guess my second year in the league,
Mhm.
a second or third year in the league, I felt like I gotta have a backup plan. So I started preparing for something like, well, the league ain't gonna last forever. And shoot, if I'm broke, everybody over here broke. If I'm broke, this person can be evicted. If I'm broke, how can I help them? And so like now I'm not just doing everything like for myself and never did, but it was like, how can I put us in a better situation until everybody is ready to take what they need to take and do this? And how can I show them like this is a better way than doing AYZ, da da da. But it's like I can tell them everything, but I also can't make them. It's like what they say, you could take a horse to a pail
You
of
can
water,
take a
but
horse
you
to
can't
water,
make
but
them
you can't
drink
make
it.
them drink. Yep,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So like that's how it is. I could have all of these goals and wish this force, and I know for a fact this will work if you do AYZ. But if a person not ready to do it, now you just giving them AYZ and they taking it running with it, and then where do that leave you and them? So now
Absolutely.
you really put your whole situation in a whole different, you know what I'm saying, predicament. So I just start looking at money different, spending it different, learning how to do it. Like probably my third year to transition, to be honest.
So real quick, because man, I appreciate your answer. Like that was a great answer, and you answered a lot of the my follow-up questions. But like you said, you were young. Like I would imagine you were what, 21, 22 when you were drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So around 20, like you said, yeah, you're an adult by classification, but at 21, 22, we're still kids, man. I remember at 21, 22, I always tell people like my first refund check when I got to college was $1,600, and I had, you couldn't tell me nothing, was gone within a day. Like I had never had that much money in my hand at one time before. So I can only imagine like, you know, anything more than that at that early age. However, I wonder for you, like growing up, you know, like you kind of said, like, yeah, you know, you had people who you grew up with who didn't make it and they didn't have a great support system and things like that. And you knew you had to be the best advocate for you to make it. But at any point, did you ever feel like this unwavering pressure or this like not unnecessary, but like this constant pressure to be the one in your circle and your family to kind of be the savior for all the adults in your family? Or did you ever like experience, because I always feel like, and I'm glad you're here because you can give great clarification to this for not only me, but for everybody that's listening. I always feel like, you know, professional sports, specifically the NFL, like kind of their whole idea is to not prey upon, but target specific student athletes and individuals who need the NFL. Like the NFL is their end all be all. Like I need you to give me everything before me to give you a little bit, because I know from your perspective, you're the one who has to make it for your family. And like you said, when you did make it, even though, you know, where you were drafted at and things like that, yeah, you weren't making first round money, but to them, it's like, oh, he's in the NFL, so he's rich. So let me hit him up like, hey, James, big dog, what's good? Nephew, how you doing, man? How's life living? You living large, ain't you? You know, you start getting these messages, or you get people who call you who are fake interested in how you're doing. It's like, well, look, man, I don't want to hold up your time or anything, but you know, hey, look, I got this going on at the crib there. So you start getting all these messages. At any point, did you ever look and be like, well, hell, I did this. Like I had, at the end of the day, I had to make the choices necessary to make sure that I even got here. Why are y'all looking at me now like I'm a lottery ticket and like y'all made this investment in me and now you're starting to reap the fruits of my own labor? Did you ever feel like that at any point?
I like one thing you said is like being a savior. Like I guess in a sense, I get where you're saying it, but I always like pray to my Lord and Savior, right? Gotcha. So like a lot of the times in trusting in God, right? Mm-hmm. We say we trust him, but then we sit there and fall on dead ears sometimes, like, right?
Yeah.
So like, oh yeah, Lord, I'm praying. Like, say I come to God and I ask God for, you know, forgiveness for something, right? Yeah. Oh, forgive him. When do I ask him? Or say, oh God, I'm asking you for AYZ. Like, I want you to, you know, take this burden off my heart. Take this off my back. Like, it's beginning to weigh on me. I'm starting to feel this way about certain people and my family, whatever. So now, say you say that, But then as soon as you say that, you go back and you do what? We still give to them because we love them.
Yeah.
So is you truly trusting in God or you trusting in your family? So like, so it started messing with me, right? It started messing with me and it would get worse. I get another chance, right? But I constantly kept ignoring what God was trying to tell me all along, right? So I'm giving, but it's always stressing. But you just said you was giving that to me. So like, not only am I over here trying to be this person and I still got all of these plans and goals, like you were saying, I heard you saying like, I had to focus on me. You know, you're right. You should focus on you because how can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself, right?
Yeah.
So like, it took me a long time because, bruh, you couldn't tell me nothing. And my mama still to this day, you know, people could say whatever they want about her, but I love my mama, right? Shoot, I had to see for myself. My mama wrong sometimes too. I just ain't gonna tell her.
Man, that,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many? Like, I could be
She gonna be
respectful.
wrong and just wrong because I ain't telling her.
Yeah, I know she could say what she said to me right in my face, and I know you did wrong. But I'm gonna be like, mama, like, right. But I don't gotta sit there and condone.
I'll be like, all right, mommy, all right.
And I still do for her. I still do, and it make me mad. And that one time I had to tell her, like, you know, because I don't talk to my mom in no type of way, and I still said it in a respectful way, like, look, you know, I'm gonna let God deal with certain things now, and I let people know up front, but it get tough. Like, I'm not making Aaron Rodgers money. I didn't make, you know, some of these guys money. I saved, and it took years, and it's not like I wasn't trying to bring my family and excuse me, I bring my family and stuff with me. It's not like I don't want to do that. It's just, if you do this, then you put me in this situation and all of us in this situation. I'm not just trying to help family, shoot. I'm trying to help, you know, God's people in need. You know, I might be in the car and, you know, I could see somebody homeless. I'm giving them 200, whatever, and you don't see none of that on the internet. Right, I've done that for many people, but my blessings come through what? Action, not from want to get something back from somebody. It's me really helping. So when you see me, I'm genuine. I'm gonna be myself. And now I heard you say that too. You gotta know yourself. Like, I'm not ashamed to tell a man I love him. I love you, my brother. Like, I really love you. I love you, king. You a king. That's what you is. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to uplift people. I'm really trying to do a lot. Now I'm passionate about it. That's why I can speak on it. You know, I love God. And I'm happy to say I love God. Everybody ain't Christians, I understand. Everybody, I love the Most High. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what religion you do, whatever. I'm not knocking you neither. I don't judge people. I don't do none of that. I live my life. I go and try to soar. You know what I'm saying? But I still would be hated for that. But when you're doing good, you always gonna be hated for something.
You better say.
So I don't try to be people saviors, bro, because they got somebody for that. I wasn't put on this earth to save the world. Jesus was. You know what I mean?
And to your and that's not our role either. And I always tell people this, you know, like, and to your point, like, because I didn't, you know, when I watched my parents, like, literally, like, I'll tell people all the time, when I was 5 and 6 years old, I was in the parking lots with my parents, cleaning out parking lots and cleaning up industrial buildings and things like that, because that's what we had to do. I was there. I was out there picking up the trash with them and things like that. So I watched my parents get it out the mud. And for me, like, when I played football, I always said, like, yeah, I want to play football because I want to make it to the league, but I also wanted to make it because, like, you know, I want my parents not to struggle anymore. And, you know, that as honorable as it is and it sounds good and everything like that, now being an adult, like, do I want to sit there and see my parents struggle? Absolutely not. And I do what I can do for my parents. However, me being an adult myself, like, I always tell people, from birth to 18, what happens to you, you kind of have to live with it, because, like, you have no control of your life from birth to 18. Like, you are literally responding to what happens to you at that point. But from 18 to the time you pass away, that is your choice to take control over your life, your behaviors, your actions, because nobody will change it for you. I always tell people, especially in relationships, people get into relationships because they want somebody to complete them. That's not how it's supposed to be. We get into relationships because people compliment us, whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, marriage, whatever the case may be, we get in relationships because people compliment us, not complete us. But when you go into that relationship or friendship or partnership looking for somebody to complete you, then they will never give you what you want, because you will always feel empty or not feel like it's getting you what you need, because you, the individual, can't do it for you.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think that's true in some cases. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, if you want somebody to complete you, right? You want something from them, right? Whether you say it or not. And then if somebody compliments you, you still want something from them, right? So I think how you said it, like, is true in a way, right? Because if say I'm bad at something, I feel like I'm all right. So this is how I look in relationships. I always looked at women as, you know, any women any lady or woman you choose to love, right? I look at, like, even as a man, if you choosing like the lady choosing a man to love, they all looking at a few things, a person that can make them happy, right? And so it's obviously going to always be different. So what I'm saying is, sometimes we might look at somebody and be like, pass them away or whatever, because they made you happy, or you just don't like them, or they too nice, they too whatever. I look at relationships as, like you saying, compliment me, right? That is so true, because if I can't do XYZ, but I could see a girl that I'm like, oh shoot, she do this, she do this, she do this, instead of, oh, she beautiful, oh, she thick, oh, she this. It's like, she can do this, she could teach me this. She real intelligent with sending emails. Like, you know what I mean? Something I'm not good at. I don't speak too well, but I speak how I speak. But being around somebody like that would help me, you know, get the verbiage and understand how to speak appropriately. So like, I've always looked at women like that, like characteristics in a woman, to me, like that's like great. Like, you gotta love God. Like, you gotta love God, man. Cause like, how can we work if we don't got God in our relationship?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not. And so then it's like, you gotta love your family, whether wrong or not. Like, and you know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to mess with mine. Like, you gotta be some kind of connecting with something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it gotta be a compliment to you, but in a way, it gotta complete you in a way too, because if they can't deal with everything you throwing them, you know what I'm saying? It's never gonna work anyway. So they gotta complete you and be a compliment to you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But compliment first type stuff. You know, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you made a great point, because like, when two people come together, like, of course, like, I always tell, like, when me and my wife I met my wife when I was 21 and she was 20. Like, we were kids. I mean, didn't know nothing. But like, we literally, I always tell people, like, me and my wife, like, we have literally watched each other at our absolute lowest moments and our personal high moments. However, I used to look at my wife I needed her to complete me, because like, I was lacking something within myself. I was lacking the confidence within myself to be like, I'm cool with who I am. Like, I'm fine with who I am. But I had to learn within myself, like I said earlier, like, I had to learn to love myself, because for so long, my identity was wrapped up in football. Like, my confidence, my abilities to do anything, like just my persona, my bravado, my machismo, all those things that we describe ourselves as men was wrapped into, because I knew I was a great football player. You take football away, well, who the hell is the man? And for me, that was a struggling point. And to your point, like, my wife had to witness that. Like, I went through a severe depression for 2 years after playing football, because like, I had to learn who I was for the first time in my life. Like, for so long, I could just skate by and say, I'm the football player. I'm this, I'm the athlete, I'm that, whatever the case may be. But to have that peel back away and be like, well, who are you as the man? I had to learn that. And my wife had to witness that. And I pray to God, I was so thankful that she never left at any point during that stage, because it got ugly at times. Like,
as it should be, though.
Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect. I mean, nothing is perfect. Nothing. But I bet you love her more, though.
Oh,
right?
What?
Like,
man.
Why do we get to see women as like weak, right? When I look at, like, I I feel
They're
like
the
women got
they're the
so much
strongest creatures
strong.
walking.
Man, they so strong. They powerful.
I just watched my wife.
Like,
I just watched my wife give birth to our son back on June 17th. Natural birth, no medicine, no nothing.
crazy.
A walking superwoman in there. I mean, literally, like
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but like just to witness that, like women are walking
Different.
superpowers. Like I mean, the things that they can do, and it takes us as men, like I said, and I think it's important for us as men to have a solid foundation for who we are as individuals, as men, in order to bring even, I would say like all the great things that have happened in my life after football are because my wife has been by my side.
Yeah.
I want to jump in.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dr. Pitts.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So you talking about the relationship piece and the whole 9 yards. I got a clinical tip I want to share with both of you. Not that it's applicable, but just to put it out there. To your point about relationships, and particularly where the athletes and stuff are concerned, because I see so oftentimes, you know, just speaking about the male athletes for right now, where these little girls out here see y'all as, it's like they almost have this homing device on you, and they think that you're going to the league, and they want to zero in on you. And you both made some really valid points. And what I say to my folks is what I call a relationship litmus. Well, Dr. Pitts, what is a relationship litmus? It is your template for relationships, and you have a needs column, a wants column, and a don't wants column. And you tie it to your core values, just like you said, James. You got to be able to have some stuff, some core meat and bones stuff that you can relate to and identify with. And you put the things that you truly need. But here's the thing. You can't do an effective relationship litmus if you don't know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know not just what you need, want, and don't want in a relationship. You have to know what you're entitled to, particularly as a child of God, if that's where your belief system is. So you put in everything that you try to make an exhaustive list as possible. Put everything that you need in your intimate relationship. Put everything that you want, because like you said, everything ain't perfect. So you might be able to get some stuff. You might not. Put what you don't want. And this is the way I explain it real quick. Got 8 minutes. I'm doing it in 2. In that don't wants column, I said that's your red flags column. If you the items that you put over there, I tell people to put value to these things. Dr. Chris, what you mean by value? You're going to use what we call a Likert scale, 1 to 10. The 1 is this stuff is not really important, but I'm gonna put it on here because it might come up in the relationship. 10 are those things that's very important in a relationship. That don't want column, that's your red flags. You rate something an 8, 9, or 10, you better be running for the hills because that's that deal breaker stuff.
Yeah.
You rate something a 6 or a 7, that's a critical red flag that you need to pay attention to, because if it rolls over into the 8, 9, or 10, that's deal breaker stuff. If it's a 1 through 5, it's a red flag, but it's not like, but you want to pay attention to it. The wants column, I tell folks, and I ain't gonna say it on the air. I'm gonna talk to the female clients. Like, there's some interesting stuff that you can put in that wants column, right? But you're gonna give it a value too. That needs column is the one that identifies most with your core values. But you have to know what your core values are. You have to know what makes you tick. So if you are going to the league, or even if you're not, you want a partner, somebody that's, because how can I say this on here? Everything is not about sexual intimacy. You're not worried about how good somebody is sexually when you have to put your parent in the ground. You're not worried about sexual intimacy when somebody that you love and care about is on a ventilator because of COVID. You need substance in your relationships, and particularly for these athletes that have their sights set on the league, as you both have explained very, very clearly, there has to be support systems in place. That journey is not easy. Whether you go to the league or not, being a scholar athlete, and as James has shared so eloquently, being a professional athlete, it comes with challenges. And as we know, because the league is going hard now on mental illness, you have to have folk around you that are not sucking the life out of you, but adding value to you, because that's what relationships are about. 2 things are happening. Either people are adding value to you or subtracting value from you. And if you're being a scholar between your injuries and the transition and the reality of not going to the league, or you are, whatever the case may be, relationships are relational. Everything that you all have said today further proves to me how important it is for you all to have a support system that you can trust, that you can depend on. James, you made some valid points, some mentors that are going to tell you the truth, people that are going to pour into you, keep you grounded, keep you humble about who you really are, so your head don't get this big and you lose sight of what's really going on in your life, remind you of where you came from, and hold you accountable for being the best you that you can be, whether you go to the league or not. I'm done. Go ahead, Ron.
Hey, well said.
Hey, look,
I heard you say it too.
Dr. Pitts drops gems out here, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I heard
Dr.
you
Pitts out here
say it.
dropping
I heard you
gems.
said the verb, the vocabulary, like everything is hitting. I told, man, that English, I didn't hated it, but I'm learning still.
Yeah.
But I see what you was talking about. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, hey, I tell Dr. Pitts every week, like when I talk, like I use basic words. I'm not like I don't need 8 different words to describe how good something is. If it's good, it's good, bro. It's hitting. Like that's all you need to know.
Tantalize the discriminating palate, Ronnie.
If you gotta do all that, it probably ain't all that good.
So I heard you say, I was over here rolling on mute. I'm not gonna lie.
You gotta remember that, Ron. Look, throw that out there on somebody. They're gonna be like, what? So Mom, oh my goodness, this tantalized the discriminating palate, and it was amazing. And she's gonna look at you like, who are you and what have you done with my son?
I can't. I'm not gonna even hold you. I can't. Somebody come on and said, I'm like, what the hell what's going on with you, bro? I what is going on in the back of the paddy wagon? That's what I used to say. What's going on? Bro, you good? You could have said his food was slapping, or man, did you taste that steak? Or give me something that was good. I can't. It tantalized the what? The palate. What did it? Just because you said palate, I'm on your head. I can't.
My tongue ain't racist. What? We discriminating? What you mean? Like what in the?
Like, you know how folks would do? They be like, we talking about how good this lasagna is. She over here talking about racism. Anybody talking about discrimination? That's what I'm talking about. She always getting stuff all messed up. She inner hustling. We was talking about how good this lasagna is. She talking about discrimination. Like one of my clients said the other day, y'all had me cry. She said racism. I said, what? She said, yeah, Dr. Pitts, they racisms. Girl, stop talking.
Stop.
Don't say that out loud.
Hey, look.
Don't do it. Tell her stop. Go look up that racism.
She's called it racism. But she just turned 8. So I gave her a pass.
Oh, she 8. Oh, that's good then.
Look, she's 8, right? But she was getting serious. She said, Dr. Pitts, that's racism. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. Okay.
Oh man.
Yes.
James, so I know we got a couple minutes left. So I just had a couple more questions to ask you real quick. Okay. So this first one is a 2-part question. I feel like I know the answer to this one, but we're going to exclude this one. So outside of the Super Bowl, because you won a Super Bowl. After everything else, you won a Super Bowl. Cool. Outside of that, what was your favorite NFL moment? Part 1. Part 2, what was your favorite football moment from all your years?
Favorite football moment. But you said I can't name the Super Bowl. The Super
Bowl. I would imagine that's probably 1 or 1A. Like,
all right. So don't name that.
Don't name that.
Okay. One was my first touchdown in the Bears game. Like
in the playoff. That was divisional or championship? Yeah,
because it was like the NFC championship. I think it was the NFC championship, and it's like I would get them down there. I'd be running, then they take me out, then Kuhn get my touchdown. I was like, damn. But me and Kuhn, that's my brother. You get what I'm saying? But I know he loved me, bro. And but I'm like, shoot, Kuhn, like, and I got Kuhn down there. I got Kuhn down there. I got him to the Pro Bowl. You feel me? Like, yeah. But I love him, and I don't take none of that from him. But that was like the first time that I was able to actually get my touchdown. I had like a 61-yard run, whatever, and that was like a big time for me. So I always remember that moment right there. Number 2, Number two ain't even in, you know what I'm saying? I don't even think it's even football, but it was like more so the locker room, like the friends
Yeah,
that
I
actually
miss it
met.
every day, man.
It was like people don't realize it because they're not in the locker room with you, but these guys you with, like, pretty much I'm there for 7 years, so I'm seeing guys that I like and they leaving and whatever. And relationships all don't last, but the jokes in that bad boy, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Man.
you know, just the arguments, and when people really upset, like, it felt like home a lot of the times, you know, just the locker room, you know what I mean? Then we going to play dodgeball, or we competing or whatever, you know. I just miss those times, just kicking it with the guys and stuff. And that, I think those was like the moments I like those the moments I kind of like cherish, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a group chat with some of my teammates from college, and like we used to always have rap battles and stuff in the locker room and
The
whatnot.
freestyles.
Every other Thursday or something, somebody put an old rap battle video in there, and I mean, like, I'm just like, I instantly feel like I'm back there. Like, people, as much as the games are fun and stuff like that, like, don't get me wrong, the competition and the games always fun, but those locker room moments, those bonding moments, either before practice when it's like 3 a.m, you looking at each other like you half sleep, like, bro, what's up? Or good? You know, just like after games and things like that, like the bus rides. I know y'all had plane rides, so I know the plane rides was probably lit, but you know, we was on the charter buses. But just all those moments right there, I think about those moments all the time. And then my last question before we go ahead and wrap up, man. So if there was one thing that you could give a up and coming student athlete, like one piece of advice or something to hold on to as they, you know, get ready to, whether it's going to college or even if they're in college, going to the professional level, like what's one piece of advice that you would want them to hold on to that you wish 18-year-old or even 21-year-old James knew?
I look at it like, if you look at football or whatever you're gonna make it for, do something that you actually love. Like, go take something that you actually like would be interested in, something that you would actually love to do or see yourself doing, and like be passionate about it. You know, if you're passionate about something, like, you're gonna be successful. If it's not work, you're gonna be successful. Money is not everything. Do something you're happy with. You get what I'm saying? If you're doing something that you're truly passionate about, I don't know too many people that don't make it, even when they lost everything. So I'm just like, at this point, if you're young, man, do something that you truly love. If it's football, then go for football, but make sure you know all the truths about it. It's like, don't mess up where people messed up. Do what people didn't do. Whatever. If it's basketball, do the same. If it's a police officer, what can you do to do that? Like, whatever make you happy, just do that, bro. And don't let nobody sit there talk your ear off about why you wouldn't be good at it. If that's something you truly are passionate in, they won't be able to do that anyway. So that's a way to like see it. But at the same time, just keep going. You're gonna fail. Pick yourself back up. Just keep going. You know what I mean? Do something you're passionate about. Keep going. Keep God first. For real.
Man, James, once again, man, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today and talk with us. Look, James, if you're ever not doing anything on a Saturday morning, you are more than welcome to always drop in, share some gems, share some stories. You are always welcome back to this podcast and to be a part of our family and whatnot. You are honorary family member for life now. We appreciate you taking this time out today, man. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank y'all for having me, man. It was fun, man. I enjoyed y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Definitely, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. And we'll holler at you, man.
All right, man.
Don't leave yet.
All right.
I got 2 public service announcements I want to make real quick. So the first one is, when you made the comment about the locker room, I'm wondering what the conversations were like in the locker room after that Saints game the other day, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I love football, and I'm like, I remember my clinical head, and I'm like, what the heck is going on with Aaron Rodgers? Like, literally, I've never seen him play.
That was flat.
He just was off. And I literally, that was my clinical lens. And I was like, would love to be a fly on the wall here, what that locker room conversation was like. The second thing is that I want to say to our viewing and listening audience, because everybody knows that I am a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I asked him, y'all. I asked him when we first met with him if Des made the catch, and he said no.
Hey, they didn't count it, did they? So that's no. I mean,
Look,
it ain't.
family.
If he caught it or he didn't, it wasn't up to me. It's up to the rest. They said no, that wasn't no catch.
James, just tell it the ref went incomplete, and that's that.
That's all that matters.
And this shows that Dr. Pitts is very objective, and that I stayed there because we still wanted him to come on the show, because that was like one of the first things I asked him, when we first met him. I was like, "Does make catch?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Okay."
He did.
But thank you, sir. Thank you. We just truly appreciate you. Ronnie said it all. Your family now. You are welcome anytime. Folks, that's it. We told you we had an exciting show. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here next week. This House Pregame. We're out. Have a good Saturday, everybody. Bye-bye.